If you are enrolled in IGNOU BFTTM and a project course called BTSP-115 has appeared on your record, this is the complete guide you were looking for. In the next few minutes, you will learn exactly what the IGNOU BFTTM project is, which official rulebook governs it, how to choose and lock a topic, how the IGNOU BFTTM synopsis works, and how the report is submitted and evaluated. Here's the direct answer first. The IGNOU BFTTM project, course code BTSP-115, is the compulsory research project inside the Bachelor of Tourism and Travel Management program run by SOTHSM. You select a tourism or travel topic, obtain your supervisor's written approval on the official proforma, collect real data from the field, and submit a written report which must secure at least 40% to pass. So here is the plan. First, the BFTTM program exactly as IGNOU publishes it. Then BTSP-115 Decoded, including why the code confuses so many students. After that, the official rulebook and its real-word limit. Then topic selection with one worked example carried right through. Finally, the synopsis wrote, the supervisor, the report structure, submission, the Viva, and the question students actually ask. Let us begin with the program itself, taken only from the official university source. On the official IGNOU website, BFTTM is listed as the Bachelor of Tourism and Travel Management, offered in open and distance learning mode by the School of Tourism and Hospitality Service Management, usually shortened to SOTHSM. Its stated purpose is to build a skilled workforce for the travel and tourism sector. There is no foreign trade component anywhere in it. The official entry requirement is a pass in the 12th standard or an equivalent examination. The minimum duration is 36 months and the maximum is 72 months, which makes BFTTM a 3-year degree with a generous completion window. The medium of instruction is both English and Hindi, so you may write your project in either language. The official page shows a program fee of 5,500 rupees for the full program, with examination fees charged separately as decided by the university. Because that figure is unusually low compared with sister tourism programs, treat it as a verify item and confirm it on the current common prospectus before quoting it to anyone. There is one detail almost nobody mentions. The same program name exists under 2 separate codes. BFTTM is the open and distance learning version, while BFTTMOL is the online version. The syllabus family is the same, but the submission route can differ, so always check which code appears on your own admission letter before following any submission instruction. The official page names Dr. Arvind Kumar Dubey, professor at SOTHSM, as the program coordinator for BFTTM. Remember that name. For any question your study center cannot answer, including whether BTSP-115 applies to your particular batch, the coordinator's office is the correct academic authority to write to, and a short, polite email that will save you months of guessing. These are the 10 core courses the official page lists, each carrying 6 credits. Notice the shape of them, because your project topic must sit inside this shape. Tourism resources, tourism marketing, tourism geography, travel agency and tour operation business, principles of tourism management, sustainable tourism development, human resource management, and entrepreneurship. Nothing about export documentation, shipping, or foreign trade. The official page also lists the career fields the program prepares you for, and this list is a quiet gift when you are hunting for a topic. Travel agency work, tour operation, guiding and escorting, non-governmental organizations, the government sector, universities, colleges and schools. research organizations, shopping, accommodation, and transportation. Every one of those is a legitimate territory for your BTSP-115 study. Now the correction that matters most, because it decides whether your topic is even eligible. Here is the first myth bust. Many pages, including some very well-ranked ones, describe BFTTM as foreign trade and tourism management, and then recommend topics on international trade, export policy, and logistics. The official IGNOU page says something different. BFTTM is the Bachelor of Tourism and Travel Management. So a foreign trade topic is not a bold choice. It is simply outside your program. Think about the practical effect for a moment. If you believe the program is about foreign trade, you will write a proposal on something like export documentation or shipping procedure. Your supervisor then has to reject it because it maps to none of your 10 core courses. Getting the program name right is therefore not pedantry. It protects your proposal, your title, and your submission deadline. With the name settled, let us decode the course code itself. Read the code in parts and it stops being intimidating. BTS is the tourism studies family used across this school. The letter P marks it as project work rather than a theory paper. And 115 is the course number inside BFTTM. So BTSP-115 is simply the project paper belonging to the Bachelor of Tourism and Travel Management program, exactly as MTTMP-119 is the dissertation of the master's program. Now, an honest observation that will save you a panic attack. At the time of this recording, the public BFTTM course table on the IGNOU website displays only the BTSC courses, the entrepreneurship paper, and the elective pool. The project row simply is not rendered there. That is a website display gap, and it is exactly what happened with other tourism programs too. It is not proof that your project does not exist. So what should you trust? 3 documents in this order. First, your own re-registration record and grade card, because that is what the university will actually examine. Second, the program guide or project booklet issued for your batch. Third, a written reply from the SOTHSM coordinator. Never let a third-party blog, including ours, override the code printed on your own university record. This next slide is the single most useful thing in the video, so screenshot it. One school runs 7 different tourism project codes. BTSP-115 for BFTTM, BTSP-001, and BTSP-002 for the Bachelor of Arts in Tourism Studies, PTS-1 and PTS-2 for the older 96 credit degree, BTMP-142 for the 3-year vocational program, BTMP-146 for the 4-year vocational one, and MTTMP-119 for the master's dissertation. Here is why that table matters. Because the codes look so similar, students routinely copy instructions written for a different program and then print the wrong course code on their front page. A report whose cover page names a course you are not registered for cannot be matched to your record by the evaluation division. That is how completely avoidable rejections happen every single session. So what are the numbers? Until your own BTSP-115 booklet is in hand, use the official BTSP family benchmark. 4 credits, which the university translates into roughly 120 study hours, and a minimum of 40%, that is grade D, to pass. Confirm the exact credit value for your batch because that is a genuine verify item. Now, which rulebook governs your work while the BTSP-115 booklet is unavailable? The school publishes a project guide for the BTSP code family, the Tourism Studies Project Guide valid from July 2023. Because it comes from the same school, the same code family, and the same academic level, it is the correct working standard for BTSP-115, until your own booklet says otherwise. Every rule in the next few slides comes from that official document, not from a coaching website. 5 rules, straight from the guide. 1. The length of the project work may run between 4,000 and 5,000 words. 2. You must secure a minimum of 40%, that is grade D, to pass. 3. A typed and bound copy is preferred. 4. The front page must follow the prescribed Annexure B format. And 5. You may write in English or in Hindi. That third rule hides a myth bust. Almost every website insists your project must be typed. The official guide is gentler. It says a typed and bound copy is preferred, but if you find it difficult to get it typed, the work may be neatly and legibly handwritten on one side of the page only. So handwriting is permitted, provided it is genuinely readable and only one side of each sheet is used. And now the biggest myth of all. You will find pages claiming a BFTTM project needs 8,000 words, 12,000 words, even 20,000 words. The official BTSP standard is 4,000 to 5,000 words. Writing 4 times the limit does not earn you extra marks. It signals to the evaluator that you never opened the guide, and it wastes months you did not have. Which brings us to the topic, where most projects are quietly won or lost. Put every idea through 4 tests. 1. Does it clearly belong to tourism and travel management, mapping to one of your core courses? 2. Is it narrow enough to answer properly inside 5,000 words? 3. Can you physically reach its people, its place, or its data without a research budget? And 4. Does your supervisor agree it is doable in the time you actually have? If you need a starting point, notice how each of these grows straight out of a course you already studied. Travel agency and tour operator service quality, destination marketing and social media promotion, homestays and rural tourism, pilgrimage circuits, heritage sites and monument management, sustainable tourism practices, tour guiding and escorting skill gaps, and transport, accommodation, and last-mile access at a destination. So let us commit to one example and carry it right through the rest of this video. A study of service quality at travel agencies handling Char Dham Yatra bookings in Haridwar, Uttarakhand. Look at what that title does. 1 sector, travel agencies. 1 service, pilgrimage package bookings. 1 town, Haridwar. 1 traveler group, Char Dham pilgrims. Everything is bounded. And notice why it survives all 4 tests. It maps directly to your core course on travel agency and tour operation business, and it borrows from tourism marketing. The respondents sit within a few streets of each other, so data collection is realistic. The pilgrimage season is predictable, so timing is manageable. And the whole study fits inside 5,000 words without becoming thin. A title is not yet a research plan, so convert it into 3 objectives. To profile the booking services offered by travel agencies in Haridwar, to measure pilgrim satisfaction across defined service dimensions such as information, pricing transparency, transport arrangement and complaint handling, and to identify service gaps and suggest practical improvements. 3 objectives is the sweet spot at this word count. Equally, know what to avoid. Anything that is really a textbook chapter, such as the importance of tourism in India, because there is no research question in it. Anything needing data you cannot legally obtain, such as a private company's internal revenue figures. And any title you lifted from a sample project because duplicated titles invite plagiarism scrutiny at exactly the wrong moment. With a topic in hand, the next step is the proposal, which students usually call the synopsis. The IGNOU BFTTM synopsis is a short research plan. It shows that your study is relevant to tourism, original enough to be worth doing, and achievable with the resources you actually have. It is prepared before you write a single chapter of the report. We have a dedicated IGNOU synopsis video that covers the writing craft in depth, so here we will stay on the BTSP-115 route specifically. Keep the proposal lean. The title, your enrollment number, your study center and your regional center, a short introduction explaining why the study matters, 2 to 4 clear objectives, your method, meaning who you will ask, roughly how many people and with what tool, then a brief chapter plan and a short reference list. That is a complete proposal, and the official proforma asks for exactly this. The route is specific. Prepare 2 copies of the proposal, preferably typed. Obtain your supervisor's approval on the Annexure A proforma. Then send 1 copy by registered post to the Program Coordinator, School of Tourism and Hospitality Services Management, SOTHSM Block 15I, Indira Gandhi National Open University, Maidan Gahi, New Delhi 1100068. Keep the second copy because your copy is never returned. And here is the myth bust that changes timelines. The official guide is explicit. Do not wait for the university's approval of your project proposal. Your supervisor's approval is final, and your work begins immediately after you have it. So every advertisement promising guaranteed synopsis approval from IGNOU is selling you something the university does not actually operate. Post the proposal and start collecting data. There is a second instruction in the same passage, and it catches a lot of students. Do not change the topic or even its wording after you have sent the proposal. The title on your final report must match the title you submitted. So if you want to swap Haridwar for Rishikesh, or change satisfaction to service quality, do it before you post the proposal, never afterwards. Which makes the choice of supervisor more consequential than most students assume. Ordinarily, your supervisor is the academic counselor for tourism at your study center. It may also be a teacher of tourism or a related discipline at a recognized college or university. And in some programs, a suitably qualified tourism industry professional is accepted as well, because eligibility wording varies between booklets. Confirm it with your study center before you commit to anyone. Our IGNOU project guide video covers this in detail. Then use the relationship properly. Approach with a written 1-page idea rather than a blank request for a topic. Ask them to sign the Annexure A proforma only when the plan is genuinely final, since the title freezes at that moment. Agree 3 checkpoints in advance, at proposal, at data collection, and at first draft. And keep every approval in writing or email. Now to the part that turns an approved plan into an actual project. The data. There are 3 practical routes, and most good projects use 2 of them. A short questionnaire with closed rating scale questions, ideal for tourist and customer studies, guided interviews, perhaps 10 to 15 conversations with agency owners, guides, or tourism officials. And structured observation, where you visit the site and record facilities, crowd flow, signage, and access against a prepared checklist. Keep sampling honest, because examiners notice inflated numbers. Define your population precisely, for example, the travel agencies operating in a named area of Haridwar. Aim for a sample you can genuinely complete, not an impressive number you cannot reach. State clearly how respondents were selected and why. And report exactly how many actually replied. A modest, truthful sample always reads better than a padded one. Alongside that sits research ethics, which is simpler than it sounds. Tell respondents who you are and why you are asking. Do not name individuals without permission. Where you use secondary figures, such as tourism statistics, agency brochures, or government reports, cite the source and the year. And never fabricate a single response, Because invented data is the fastest possible route to a failed project. Once the data is in, the report almost writes itself, provided you budget your words. Here is a budget that actually fits. Chapter 1. Introduction and Objectives, about 700 words. Chapter 2. Review of Literature, about 800. Chapter 3. Research Methodology, about 600. Chapter 4. Data Analysis and Findings, about 1,800 words because this is the heart of the project. And Chapter 5. Conclusion and Suggestions, about 700. Spend your best effort on Chapter 4. The common mistake is to reproduce the questionnaire question by question and stop there. Instead, take each objective in turn, present the table or chart that answers it, state in one plain sentence what the figure shows, and then explain why it matters for travel agencies in Haridwar. Interpretation, not decoration, is what earns marks. Before the chapters comes the front matter, and it is worth getting right because it is the first thing anyone sees. Your cover page must follow the prescribed Annexure B format and carry the course code, the program, your name, enrollment number, study center, and regional center. Bind the supervisor's certificate and your own declaration of originality inside. Our IGNOU project format video covers page setup completely. A few presentation essentials that cost nothing and prevent a great deal of trouble. Use A4 paper, printed or written on one side only. Pick one citation style such as APA and use it consistently from the first reference to the last. Number every page, every table, and every figure. And bind the report properly because loose sheets get separated in transit and separated pages get lost. Which brings us to submission, where two completely different routes get confused. This is the seventh myth bust and a genuinely common failure. The proposal and the final report do not travel the same road. The proposal goes by registered post to the SOTHSM coordinator, signed on Annexure A. The final report is uploaded through the project submission portal as a single file or handed to your regional center as instructed. Send the report to the coordinator's postal address, and it may simply sit there. 4 portal rules worth memorizing. Upload the complete report as one single PDF file, not as separate chapters. Reports sent by email are not accepted for evaluation. Do not upload your synopsis or your assignments on the project portal, because that portal is only for the final report. And pay the evaluation fee where it applies, keeping the receipt safely. On timing, the pattern across recent sessions has been an end-of-May cutoff for the June term-end examination and an end-of-November cutoff for the December one, with the exact date notified each session and sometimes extended. Because these dates genuinely move, always confirm the current deadline on the official portal before you rely on it. Our IGNOU project submission video tracks the routes in detail. Where a Viva is conducted, understand what it is really testing. It is mainly an authenticity check. Expect to be asked why you chose Haridwar, how many respondents you actually reached, what surprised you in the data, and 1 or 2 basic tourism concepts from your coursework. If the work is genuinely yours, it is a comfortable 10-minute conversation rather than an examination. Before we close, the 10 reasons projects come back. Wrong course code on the front page. A topic outside tourism and travel management. No supervisor certificate bound inside. A title changed after the proposal went out. Copied text with no citation. A word count far above or below the limit. Objectives the data never answers. Chapter 4 with tables but no interpretation. Several files instead of one. And a late submission. Finally, the honest question students ask before they commit to all this effort. Is the degree valid? IGNOU is a central university, and its distance programs are recognized through the University Grants Commission's distance education machinery. A BFTTM degree earned through the proper route, project included, is a valid undergraduate degree for further study and for employment purposes. As with anything official, check the current recognition status on the IGNOU website yourself, because that is where the authoritative answer lives. Is it worth it, particularly for someone already working? The distance format, the 36 to 72-month completion window, and the modest fee suit people who are already employed in travel, hospitality, or transport. The project is where that advantage really shows. You can study the very sector you work in, with access to people and processes an outside researcher would never get. On career scope, speaking qualitatively rather than promising numbers. Graduates typically move into travel agency and tour operation roles, guiding, escorting, and ground handling. Others go into state tourism bodies, cultural organizations, and tourism non-profits. And a good number use BFTTM as the natural bridge into the master's program in tourism and travel management, where the dissertation carries 8 credits instead of 4. 2 quick answers. Is BTSP-115 compulsory? Where it appears on your registration, yes. The guide is clear that the award of the degree is subject to successful completion of your project. And how many words should the report be? Follow the official BTSP standard of 4,000 to 5,000 words unless your own booklet states something different. 2 more. Can you write the project in Hindi? Yes. The official guide permits English or Hindi, so choose the language you argue best in and stay in that language throughout. And do you need IGNOU to approve your synopsis before starting? No. The guide says not to wait for the university's approval, because your supervisor's approval is final. And the last 2. What if your record shows BTSP-001 rather than BTSP-115? Then follow the BTSP-001 rules, because you always obey the code printed on your own registration record. And can you use a ready-made sample project? Use samples only to understand structure and formatting. A copied report risks plagiarism action and collapses instantly in the Viva. Let us recap the essentials. Your course code is BTSP-115, inside the Bachelor of Tourism and Travel Management, not a foreign trade program. The working word limit is 4,000 to 5,000 words. Annexure A carries your supervisor's approval and Annexure B fixes your front page. The proposal goes by registered post, the report goes to the portal, and 40% passes. If you would like help shaping your own BTSP-115 topic, synopsis or report, message us on WhatsApp at +91 93546 37830 or visit ignouproject.com. Our free guides on synopsis writing, project format, and submission are all linked below. This has been BK Sakni, guiding IGNOU students since 2010. Subscribe for the rest of the series and all the best with your project.